Corecon is partnered with a software called Xero, which is a New Zealand-based technology that provides cloud-based accounting software for small and medium-sized businesses. For users of Xero, CoreconLink is provided. The CoreconLink is a utility or a bridge between Corecon and Xero's online accounting system. The link utility eliminates duplicate data entry and maintains consistency across an organization. Noting this business process diagram, you'll see that information will export to Xero, such as procurement or vendor bills and subcontractor invoices, also prime invoices from the client contract admin module. These will be exported into Xero as customer invoices, and also employee miscellaneous expenses such as corporate credit cards, corporate debit cards, or miscellaneous expenses in the form of employee reimbursements for out-of-pocket expenses. The CoreconLink for Xero does not export labor time cards. Some information goes both directions. For example, companies such as vendor suppliers, subcontractors, and customer companies, data will sync between the two software. Basic information about employees can also be synced between the two software. And when a prime invoice, a bill, or a sub-invoice has been exported from Corecon to Xero, the payment information received from customers or the payments made to vendors, suppliers, and subcontractors will import basic information back to Corecon so that Corecon users who do not have access to Xero will be able to see when their customer invoices have been paid or when vendors, suppliers, and subcontractors have been paid. This business process diagram shows most of the information that is related to finance tracked in Corecon and how it relates or where it ends up in the Xero product. You'll notice that some of the lines have arrows on both ends, meaning data will flow both directions. Some of these lines only have arrows going one direction, and the payment information we mentioned utilizes a dashed line to illustrate that payment information going from Xero back to the data tracked in Corecon. Back to Corecon. There are several key points to remember when setting up your Xero software to integrate to Corecon using the CoreconLink for Xero. First, in Corecon, only users with a security role of administrator or financial administrator can access the CoreconLink for Xero. The editions of Xero that are compatible with CoreconLink for Xero include the Starter Edition, the Standard Edition, and the Premium Edition. All countries are also available in these three Xero editions. Since the contact management module allows customers, suppliers, and employees to be imported from Xero, you may want to review these lists to make sure that only the active companies or employees show active in Xero before syncing with Corecon. Switching to a sample company set up in Xero, there is some basic information that you'll need to take into account as you're setting this up before you set up the CoreconLink for Xero. Let's start with the chart of accounts. We'll go to Accounting, down to Chart of Accounts. The account type is very important in some situations. It is recommended that you turn on the account numbering. You will need several accounts, such as the default bank account used to pay AP vendors. You'll need an accounts receivable account if you're tracking the retainage receivable or the holdback receivable. You will need to have an account set up for that separate from the accounts receivable, and it will need to be a current asset. You're also going to need an accounts payable account. The account type is a current liability. Retainage payable or holdback payable, also a current liability account type. If your sales tax is set up in Xero, you will already have a sales tax payable account, and that sales tax setup can be imported into Corecon's global settings. The account type should be a current liability. If you're tracking credit cards, you will need to have those set up. You can track more than one in Corecon. The account type in the chart of accounts should be a current liability. If we keep moving down, you will need an income account or revenue account set up with an account type called revenue. And you'll need at least one cost of goods sold account. And the account type is a direct cost. You may need more than one. Now let's go to the service items. To find these, go to the Business tab and down to Products and Services. We'll be discussing different options you can use to create these non-inventory items in Xero, which will control how information flows from Corecon and into which GL chart of accounts that information will end up in. These options are discussed in another video, the CoreconLink to Xero sync preferences. Just to open one of these items, you'll notice that each item has a purchase account, in this case the cost of goods sold, and a sales account, in this case a revenue. This is how Xero knows where a transaction should end up on the chart of accounts when imported through the CoreconLink to Xero. Once the chart of accounts items mentioned, as well as the non-inventory items, are set up in Xero, you're ready to start setting up CoreconLink for Xero sync preferences. Back to the main screen. This is the first in a series of 4 videos on the CoreconLink to Xero subject. If you'd like to know more about the information, we encourage you to go back to Corecon, to the knowledge base, down to the integration and public APIs, and click on the accounting ERP systems and select the CoreconLink for Xero. The information in this Corecon training video is covered in knowledge base titled CoreconLink for Xero.